welcome to the Pownell Elementary School Board Directors Meeting for November 20th. First opening on the agenda would be the Pledge of Allegiance by the third grade class.
I pledge allegiance
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Second on the agenda is a Pilgrim of Today by the third grade students.
Okay, good evening, everyone. On behalf of Mrs. Kircher, Mr. Robinson, and myself, and our representatives from the third grade classrooms, we'd like to do our Thanksgiving Day poem as well as what we are thankful for. So, boys and girls, 1, 2, 3.
A Pilgrim of Today by Susan Kilpatrick. A pilgrim leaves his homeland with many thoughts in mind. Freedom is the first thing he's hoping he will find. It isn't always easy to begin your life anew in a land where no one speaks exactly the same as you. So when you meet a pilgrim, a person from far away, hold out your hand and smile. Tell him I hope you'll stay. And be proud that America offers a chance to be free and welcomes pilgrims of today, people just like you and me.
Julia, why don't you start?
I am thankful for my family and my giraffes. I am thankful for my family and a full meal every day.
I am thankful for soccer in my life.
I am thankful for my life.
I am thankful for a good teacher.
I am thankful for my life. I am thankful for a nice family. I'm thankful for my dog because he protects me. I am thankful for my mom. I am thankful for my life, family, and guinea pig. I am thankful for my family. I am thankful for my family. I am thankful for my toys and family.
I'd like to thank the third graders tonight and the families for coming out tonight. What a crowd. We appreciate that. And happy Thanksgiving to all. Great job, kids.
And I think you guys did a remarkable job.
Thank you.
Jim, sit on the end. It's okay. Sit on the end. All right, do we have any public comments? Public comments for the check?
Oh, we could, yeah.
We could. How about
Lynn?
Lynn?
I think we're going to move that out. for the Head Start agreement and the ground lease check. Okay?
Randy's representing Head Start. Betsy Gunn is in Africa on her honeymoon. On a board meeting, Africa. I don't blame her. Check for 3 years. And we will be signing that, contract. Is there any questions on the contract? You want me to sign it now? Well, we have to get a copy. So we'll sign it and we'll make sure that you get a copy. Okay, is that all right? Yes, okay, very good.
Thank you very much.
All right.
You really do.
Yes,
appreciate
yes,
it.
we do too. Thank you so
And
much.
Betsy would like to come to a
December meeting?
December meeting to do a presentation on Head Start.
Oh, we'd love that. Tell her we'll put her on the agenda.
Okay.
All right?
Thank you.
Nice meeting you.
Thank you.
Okay, this goes to Linda. We can always put it in the student activity. This is-
Yes, Palace.
Do they
So
stand
we'll
there?
check.
All
Yeah,
right,
we'll
just
check.
check.
And how are you supposed to come?
It's a 3 years, yes, sir. To make that legal, it
I
has to be.
know, it's funny.
Yeah, it is funny.
Got it.
All right, next on our agenda is the Bonadero Company. So if you want to come on down.
I'll let you introduce yourself.
All righty,
All right,
good evening.
good evening.
Um,
Sit.
Do you mind if I stand? Or?
You can stand, sure.
I usually like to stand, address the board. My name is Alan Walther. I'm a partner with the Bonadeo Group. We are the school district's external auditors. To my left is Allison Blessing. She's a manager with the Bonadeo Group. She was the person who was responsible for the field work and supervision of the staff in the field in performing the audit. We've just distributed to everybody has, there's 2 reports tonight that we'd like to go through. A required communications letter and a financial statements and other reports. I'm gonna turn it over to Allison to walk you through the required communications letter, and then I'll talk about the financial statement.
Okay,
So-
good evening.
Good evening.
So the required communications letter, basically our professional standards require that we communicate certain items to you that as a result of our audits that we discovered. With respect to significant audit findings, the district was required to implement a new accounting standard this year, which is described in the first paragraph under the qualitative aspects of accounting practices, and it was GASB statement number 63. Now, really the only impact to the district's financial statements for this year was, you will see, if you took your financial statements and put them side by side to last year's, your statement of net assets in last year's financial statements is now called the statement of net position. Okay, so it was kind of like a lingo change that they took net assets and now it's called net position. There's a reason for that, but you're not really gonna see that until next year's financial statements with another accounting standard that's going to be implemented. With respect to your financial statements, you will also see within your footnotes, you will see that there are certain estimates that your financial statements may include. And for the district, the estimates that you have in your financial statements are related to depreciation of your capital assets, and they're related to your accrued compensated absences for any leave time that employees may incur that they are allowed to get paid out for upon separation of employment from the district. So those are 2 estimates that are in your financial statements. We are also required to inform the board if there were any difficulties encountered in performing our audit, and we are pleased to say that we had no difficulties in performing the audit. And we also did not have any disagreements with management during the audit. Management is also required to provide certain representations to us, so they have signed a letter with those representations. So if you would ever like to see a copy of what that is, then, Jim or Rick can provide you, but they are required to provide certain representations to us. Okay? And we are also not aware that there were any consultations with other accountants or auditors for any sort of information during the year. June 30, 2013. Okay? Any questions on that letter?
Who are you considering management? Who do you consider management?
It would be Rick.
Right, it would be who's performing your SVSU is management of, as far as from the financial recording of the activity, they are ultimately who is making the decisions on how things are recorded, things of that nature. Okay?
That's your question.
Yep.
Okay. If you have a copy of the financial statements, please just turn to the table of contents and I'll walk through what's included in the financial statements and other reports, and then we'll hit on the highlights. The financial statements, if you look at the table of contents, are 35 pages long. Obviously, I'm not gonna go through each page in detail, but I would like to just walk through what's included in the financial statement report and then hit on some of the highlights that I think is important for the board to know, and then open it up for any questions that you might have. So if you look at the table of contents, the financial statements are broken into 5 sections. The independent auditor's report on pages 1 and 2, required supplementary information, which is the management's discussion and analysis on pages 3 through 12, the financial statements and the notes to the financial statements on pages 13 through 31, required supplementary information, which is the schedule of revenue expenditures and changes in fund balance, budget versus actual for the general fund on page 32, and then other required report under government auditing standards on pages 33 and 34, and schedules of findings and responses on pages 35. It's important for the board to know that of this 35-page document, pages 1 and 2, 33 and 34, and 35 are ours, are Bondeo, okay? Pages 3 through 32 are the school districts, even though we assist in the preparation of this document. They're your financial statement, and our role as your auditors is to audit the financial statements, give our opinion on them, and give a report on internal controls, okay? If you only have a limited amount of time to spend with this document, do read at least pages 3 through 12, the management's discussion analysis. That gives a good overview of the results for the year. It's written in relative layman's terms, and is concise as well. The reports are in draft form. As far as we're concerned, they're complete, but we do, issue them in drafts to give the board an opportunity to review them. Let us know if there's any changes. As long as there's no changes, we will issue them in the final form. And again, as far as we're concerned, we're just going to take the draft stamp off of and issue them as is. So having said all that, if we flip all the way to page 35, we'll go right to the end, and then we'll go back through and take a look at some of the results. What page 35 is the summary of the audit results. So in a one-page format, in a nutshell, here's the results of the audit for the year. With regard to your financial statements, the type of independent auditor's report issued was an unmodified report. That was formerly called an unqualified opinion. That's the highest level of assurance that we give on your financial statements. We had, as auditors, there was an auditing standard change. It changed the terminology similar to the net position thing, where unqualified is now unmodified. But it's still, again, it's the highest level of assurance we can give. With regard to internal control over financial statement, or over financial reporting, we noted no material weaknesses, and we noted no significant deficiencies, and there's also no instances of non-compliance materials in the financial statements noted. Okay, so the overall results of the audit were very favorable. Unmodified opinion in financial statements, which is the highest level of assurance we can give. No material weaknesses, no significant deficiencies, and no instances of non-compliance. Okay, so very favorable overall audit results. So let's flip all the way back to page 1 and 2. pages 1 and 2 is our independent audit report. For those of you who have been on the board in the past, you may notice that the format of the report is a little bit different from what it was in the prior years. The information that is presented is essentially the same, it's just a little different format. And the important information for the board to be aware of is on the very top of page 2, which I'll paraphrase. In our opinion, the financial statements present fairly the financial position of the district as of June 30th, 2013. Again, that's what we, as your auditors, call an unmodified opinion. It's the highest level of assurance that we can give on your financial statements. Pages 3 through 12, as I said, is the management's discussion analysis. I'm not going to go through that at all, but do, again, if you only read, any portion of this, do try to read those 10 pages because it gives a good overview and it's written in layman's terms. If you go to page 13, page 13 is the statement of net position. This is the big change that Allison spoke about last year. It was called the statement of net assets. Literally, that's all that has changed here is the terminology. What the statement of net position represents is the financial position of the school district as a whole. So it's all the funds of the school district plus your capital assets minus your long-term debt. So it's everything. It's also presented using the full accrual method of accounting, which is not the same as your fund level and tax level methodology. So the highlights here, just to take a quick look at this: total assets of the school district, $1,742,000. Total liabilities, $223,000. The accounting formula is assets minus liabilities brings you the total net position. Total net position is $1,519,000. Of that $1,519,000, $794,000 is invested in capital assets, the building and equipment. $160,000 is restricted, and $564,045 is unrestricted. If we go to page 14, just very briefly, with page 14 is the statement of activities. What this is the flip side of the statement of net position. This is the school district's total activities, everything brought together on a full accrual basis, including depreciation for the year. Page 15, I think, is probably a little more meaningful for everyone. What page 15 is the balance sheet for the governmental funds. The school district has two governmental funds, the general fund and then a fresh fruit and vegetable fund. The general fund is the fund through which the vast majority of the operations of the school district flow. What the balance sheet represents is a snapshot of the fund's position as of a date and time, which is June 30th, 2013, the end of your most recent fiscal year. The highlights here, and I'm going to just limit my comments to the general fund. The fruit and vegetable fund is very, very small. Total assets in the general fund, $892,000. Total liabilities, $101,000. Assets minus liabilities bring you to your total fund balance towards the middle of the page, $790,000. Of your $790,000 fund balance, $160,000 was restricted for bus purchases and repairs. $315,871 was designated for subsequent years' expenditures. That was the amount that you used to balance your 2014 budget. And then $314,000 is unassigned. That would be the amount that would be theoretically available for 2015 should you use exactly your budgeted amount for 2014. Okay. Page 16 is a statement of revenues, expenditures, and changes in fund balance for the governmental funds. This essentially shows your operations for the year for your two governmental funds, using the modified accrual basis of accounting, which is the same method of accounting you use for your tax levy. I'm gonna limit my comments on this page to the fresh fruit and vegetable program. We'll look at the general fund versus the budget, which I think is a little more meaningful. The fruit and vegetable fund, 19,725 in, 19,725 out. As a special revenue fund, you recognize revenue to the extent of your expenditure, so it's just an in and out in the zero fund balance, and approximately $20,000 running through it. So let's flip all the way to page, I believe it's 32. Yes, page 32 is the statement of revenue, expenditures, and changes in fund balance, budget versus actual for the general fund. The highlights here: your total revenue budgeted was $3,669,000. Your actual revenue was $3,885,000. So you had a net favorable variance of $215,000 on the revenue side. Your expenditures total budgeted $4,041,000. Actual $3,920,000. You had a net favorable variance on your expenditures of $120,000. So the net results for the year is the third line from the bottom. You had budgeted to use $371,000 of your fund balance. You actually used $35,000 in your fund balance. So you had a net favorable variance of $336,000. Okay. The pages that I skipped over between 16 and 31 were there's a reconciliation of your statement of revenues and expenditures, the statement of activities, and then the notes to the financial statements. There's really nothing new in your notes to the financial statements. So there's nothing of significance that I want to point out to you. And then the only other comments that I have, and then I'll open up to any questions if you have them, are on pages 33 and 34. If we just take a very quick look at that. What pages 33 and 34 is the report on internal controls and on compliance and other matters in accordance with government auditing standards. Whenever we do a government audit, this is a required report. And as your auditors, we're required to consider your internal controls to the extent necessary for us to plan and perform our audit, and then give a report on your internal controls, but not an opinion. There's a big difference between an opinion on your internal controls and a report. And our responsibility as your auditors with regard to internal controls is to report in writing if we find material weaknesses or significant deficiencies, okay? For auditors, there's really three categories of internal control findings: material weaknesses being the most severe, then significant deficiencies, and then other matters that we may report in writing or give a verbal report, okay? So if we find material weaknesses or significant deficiencies, they have to be put in writing in this report. And as I said, my very initial comments were that we found none, and there was nothing in here, none reported. And where we see that is at the very bottom of page 33. Just to paraphrase, it says, we did not identify any deficiencies in internal control that we considered to be material weaknesses. Again, that's the greatest amount of assurance we can give with regard to your internal controls. And then similar on page 34 with regard to compliance and other matters, we don't audit your compliance. We just consider passing a budget, those kind of things are the significant compliance matters, and we consider material compliance issues that could have an effect on your financial statements. And the important information here is the very last sentence in that paragraph, which reads, the results of our tests disclose no instances of non-compliance or other matters that are required to be reported. Okay. So that is the extent of my comments, unless there's any questions? Yes, sir.
Page 3 under the financial highlight bullets, total expenses is 43 general, 21 administrative, 26 special ed. It only adds to 90%. $43, 21, 26.
Okay, yeah, I see it at the very top, yes, we're just, those aren't every one of the expenses. I think there's a graph,
Okay, so
so it wasn't meant to add
that
up.
wasn't meant that, okay.
Yep.
And my next question is on the special eds. I just trying to get my mind around it, okay? So we're showing special ed as 26%, which ties out to the numbers on page 32, where we're showing special ed as 991,000 out of 3.9. That's about correct. But the source of the funds, we all know, and our special ed director is here, is that about half of this is reimbursed federally. Is that the state line on page 32, where you're showing state aid at 630,000? Is that the special ed portion that flows from federal?
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, substantially.
So it's
Yes.
federal funds flowing to state, and we're showing it as state being the source, but actually it's federal source?
It actually is state, it's state dollars. Most of the federal dollars flow through at the SVSU level, and then they deliver the services. So most of the special education dollars, go through SVSU, and then they provide services here.
Okay. What I'm trying to get at from the taxpayer standpoint
Okay.
is that we're showing about a $4 million budget here, okay? And as a rule of thumb, we're all saying special ed is half, not, paid by somebody else, okay? So I'm trying to figure out how to discount special, this is the full value of a special ed, even though we're not paying for all of it. Part of the argument for special ed, we're only paying for half of it. Does anybody understand what I'm saying?
The state doesn't give us half.
A good part of how much it is.
Now, usually we go by the formula 50% that the state gives us.
50%,
Yeah,
yeah.
when we get into the extraordinary expenses, then they'll give us more than that.
Okay. But we're showing here special ed, let's call it $1 million. But it's only half of that Pownell's or is indirectly responsible for. Is that $1 million
And you also
our half, or is that two halves? On page 32, we're showing $1 million for special ed.
Right.
Is that both halves?
Yeah,
Yes,
I believe
yes.
you're asking if the $1 million is the total cost of administering your
Yes,
special
yeah.
education?
It is,
Yes.
yes.
Okay. And half of that's rebated.
And
Does
then,
that show that here anywhere?
yes, it doesn't show, I understand what you're.
Politically, it's an important thing to mention all the time.
It doesn't, the way that it's presented doesn't match special ed expenditures with special ed revenue. I think that's what your question is. You would
Yeah.
expect to see $500,000 of special ed revenue
Yeah.
up top, or $1 million of special ed expenditures, and then there's your 50-50
Yeah.
split. It's not shown that way. I can tell you that the predominance of the state aid is special aid or special education, and if we did break the math out, I think it would work out pretty close to that.
Okay, I had to think about here for a minute. The majority of that special ed expenditure is what is budgeted at SVSU and assessed
It's
down
an
to the
assessment, right.
assessment down to the local district. What is in the actual revenues is the actual amounts from the state. So it can happen that you have more expenditures at the SVSU, but you're only having an expense for the assessment portion. But you will receive in 100% of the reimbursement in that year. And after he's done, I'm gonna kind of follow up on a little supplement to this report that'll show why the numbers can't come out the same, because you could have a lot more expenditures in SVSU, they're paying the bills, you're getting the 50% reimbursements, you still owe SVSU the money if it's over and above the budget.
I was wondering, at town meeting time, you know, we know the town we saved $4 million, but it's actually $3.5 million, if we take out the kickback. For talking purposes, yeah. The town, whatever, okay.
If the-
I don't understand it, I'm trying to understand
If
it.
if it falls within the reimbursable expenses, there are some expenses that are not in special ed that are not reimbursable. So
Okay.
you can't really just say 50% of it will be that part of the
It's a
revenue.
lot less than $1 million.
Pardon, yeah, I mean, we'd have to look at it, and I'll look at it further for you when we come to the
No,
budget
I'm
time.
just trying to
let you know.
understand it.
I mean, it's the way you'll understand it.
And you could net it together in your head, but the way that we account for it, and the way that Jim account for it is gross. So it's broken out, so the $4 million is your total expenditures, and then whatever you get reimbursed, we would never net it in there and say that it was a net $3 million. Because I know what you're getting at, the cost, of what's the cost of the taxpayers?
It's our out of pocket,
And,
yeah.
right,
Pound out of pocket, more or less.
you know, which is the $3.2 million state grant generally, but we have to gross it up. Any,
That's it.
any other questions? I don't know if I even answered the first one, but
No, I just.
we had a discussion at least. Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you so
Thank
much.
you very much.
Good job, once again.
And I just want to add a supplement to this because it's kind of disclosure of what else is going to be affected in this budget. If you look on page 15, and that's the page that a lot of people will look at to find out how much of the unassigned fund balance is available for the future. At this point here, you'll see 314,000, I'm sorry, 15 of the
Oh,
regular report.
15 of the book, okay.
You'll see there 314,000 is available in the fund balance. This here is only takes into the account if everything happened perfectly in the SVSU on the special ed that was assessed down to you and revenues that came in. Unfortunately, we did have a special assessment that occurred at the end of last year, which was booked as an expense, so your fund balance got decreased about $55,000 for that. So you would have a higher fund balance in there if it wasn't for that. But on the other hand, if you look on page 32, you'll see that there was extra revenues in the state aid, which is special education reimbursements. Now, there's 137,000 there, so you received in additional funds. The report that I just handed out, the 3-page report, is the portion of SVSU that is assessed to the local district. And if you look at the last page, you'll see that third column from the right in, there was a deficit of $62,000. Those are added costs, Jim, that may occur in a special education attributed to extraordinary costs for Pownell. And of that 62,000, which we realized was going to occur, we applied a special assessment to Pownell to have the expense occur in fiscal year 13. After that time, an additional $22,000 in expenses or extraordinary expenses occurred, all right? Now, SVSU has paid that money out on behalf of Pownell, and they've submitted it into the government or the state for reimbursements, which is bringing in the extra revenue for the fiscal year 13. We at Pownell still owes to SVSU $22,000 because they've already paid $42,000 or $45,000, all right? And so you could look at page 15 and say, okay, yes, we have a fund balance locally of $314,000, but there will be a payable that is due to SVSU, which is normally passed down in the fiscal year 15 as an adjustment to the assessment. We're looking at different ways that this may be reported, whether it should be reported in fiscal year 13 or fiscal year 14. So, but I just wanted to bring to your attention that although it shows a 314,000 fund balance, your actual fund balance is 314 minus 22,000. Any questions?
Thank you. No. It couldn't get any more confusing. So I'm not asking.
Right up all that one.
Very good. I want to thank the Bonadero Group once again. I've been on the board a long time. You've been doing a marvelous job, and you seem to be continuing that, which is great.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes. All right.
Okay. Happy Thanksgiving.
Same to
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
Do we have to, do we have to vote on accepting the? I don't know. Maybe not.
Let's ask Julie when he comes back.
I don't think so, we never have before.
We never did, I didn't think so, okay. All right. Last, before I move on to personnel, as is personnel, I would like to ask our illustrious Miss Wendy, please come forward. The board, I don't know if the board knows her. This is Wendy Pierce. She is the interim director of special ed. She was here last month, and I felt bad that I did not introduce her. So if you want to go, please let her, we'll start with Tammy. You should tell her your name.
Tammy Sowell, I'm the recorder for the board. Angie Rowling, Nicole Cloudy, Carbonell.
Jim O'Connor, on the board.
Cindy Brownell.
Todd Phillips.
Doug Robertson.
It's nice to meet you guys, and if you ever have any questions, I'll definitely try to answer them for you. And I know that Jim was just talking about some of the extraordinary costs that we have and some of the costs that we have that come up within the year that we're not anticipating, that are not budgeted. And I think that's where some of the confusing part comes in about special education, is those costs that we don't anticipate when a child needs something, above what we've anticipated, and that comes out later than from what the budget. And we've had a couple of those already come up this year. So I know this is gonna be a continual thing that we try to work on. And Todd and I are working pretty closely to try and figure out some of these things.
And you'll get to know Wendy a little bit more when we start the budget season and our meetings. Wendy will be in attendance and help us out with special ed, so.
Very
Definitely.
good, very good. Well, thank you. I just wanted to make sure,
Thank you.
I had to do it right away before I forgot. I just wanted to make sure that everybody knew who you were.
Oh, thank you, thank you.
All right, and thank you for coming.
Thanks for coming down.
Okay, number 5, under personnel, we have Jeremiah Madison, who is now a substitute bus driver. I'm happy that he has actually gone through the process. I would just want to make sure the board can speak, other board members can speak also, but we have a substitute bus driver who has been marvelous. I would think that how this would work is, and you wouldn't call him first, you would call Diane.
Right. Sometimes this last year, we've got caught in a bind where one of our drivers is either out sick or we have a couple field trips or where we had to keep kids after school for one of our drivers to do 2 runs to make up for that, where a substitute bus driver was either on a run or wasn't available or something like that. But you are correct. Jeremiah would fill in as needed, down the line.
I figured they would do that, I just wanted to make sure, because I'm really pleased, I mean, it's actually a plus for us having
Oh, it
an
is.
extra bus driver. That's good. All right, update on the driveway repair for the bus turnaround. I actually spoke to the property owner, and due to the fact that she said the holes now are filled with water and leaves, she would just as soon wait until the spring, and then we can, her and I are going to approach the selectmen at the time to see what, this has been a little bit, we could get this, we could get that. The board's not really in the business of finding people to fill holes. And I think, we can just work closer with the town. So at the moment, it's put on hold. I think that if Joel finds it to be, if it becomes worse, then I'm sure Joel will speak up, or he might even just back in. Angie went down, I went down to take a look at it. It is not safe for him to continue on to the bridge. Number one, he'd have to cross the railroad track, which is a pain in the neck. And then he'd have to go over the bridge and turn around, which to me is not safe. So at the moment, he's okay driving around the driveway. He said if it gets bad, he will just back into it and come out that way. And then come spring, we'll just approach it again. All right, and then we can get it straightened out. Are there any questions?
She's okay with that.
She's okay, I called her and talked to her, and she's the one that said, I'd like to wait until the spring. I said, okay. Okay. Down to 7 on action items. The treasurer's report, is there any questions for October on the treasurer's report? Hearing none. There's no budget transfers. Okay. Moving down to B, facilities, the Head Start agreement, the woman came in and gave us the check. The agreement is finalized. We'll sign it and make sure she gets a copy of it. Okay, the Red Cross shelter, why is that on there?
It's enclosed, it's been signed.
Oh, yeah, it's been signed, so we're all set with that.
Yes.
I just have one question for Todd.
Yeah.
Are they gonna park the trailer here? Is that we discussed again? They're gonna give us a trailer of stuff.
From my understanding,
Beds and
it was
things are-
water and cots, but we haven't gotten that far.
Okay. But that's under,
Right.
for you to handle.
Us, you and I.
Okay. It's not taken care of yet.
Right.
Okay.
Okay, energy efficient proposal? What is
That was
that?
from the
Let's see, I stuck my nose in that.
the Monument Electric.
I looked into that a little bit more, and the savings is way underestimated. It's a phenomenal savings to put those LED lights in, and the report shows a certain amount, and it's just way, I play with a lot of numbers on it, but the savings is, it's basically, we're replacing a 400 watt bulb with a 50 watt bulb, so that's 8 times, or there's 12% of the electricity we're gonna use with the new lights.
So-
For everything I've read, it's a different light, it's not, it's,
Well, LED is a lot brighter.
it appears brighter, but it's fine. It's just a lot of things about it, but it's fantastic. It's just a fantastic deal.
Okay, so
I
that's
talked to Rich about it.
bottom line. That's, I'm trying
It's
to
a great
figure out.
deal.
Okay, that's, you've gone through this too.
Yes.
Okay,
Before you make a decision, I just wanna make sure I hand out this so you know where you stand, because this will affect, he's proposing that it comes out of your energy efficient, out of your capital funding. And I think what's,
that's not good, was it?
and I think what he's trying to do is get it done before the December, because if it's not done before December, it'll lose the,
Rebate.
You'll lose the rebate. So I threw together today, just to let you know where you stood on all your spending for capital projects. And if you look at the top, those are the actual expenditures. The only one that is, still in the quote stage is the, Bruce Carpenter, which is gonna be doing the east wall in the front of the building. Down below is a list of your actual spending and what had been proposed to do at the beginning of the year, that you had given Rich authorization to do, and the balance that is left. And I think at this point, everything that he proposed is done, except you told him to hold off on the front door section until next spring.
The only thing we told them to do is that one,
Yeah.
the one section,
Right,
but not to enclose it.
that's correct. So, in the, capital funds right now would decrease the $52,000, your reserve account, taking into account the monies that are contributed this year into that. So, I think his proposal was that he wanted to have a decision made tonight to have the efficiency lights changed out before the January 1st.
And I spoke to Rich today, and apparently Monument will wait, I don't know how it affects anything, but a Monument will put it in this year and not take all the time we want to pay them. Just, it has to be installed apparently by the 31st to get, and the rebate is $1,500, $1,600, it's a lot of money. Makes it almost free.
So what, okay, I'm not a numbers person, so I'm trying to find out what is it you're suggesting?
Well,
To perform it though, it's gonna cost $42,500. You're saying we're gonna get
$1,300 back.
Yeah.
And how much are we saving over time?
Well, the official Efficiency Vermont number is there, what does it say?
Per year, close to 10,000?
No,
Where are you at?
savings per year according to Efficiency Vermont is 1,300, and I'm thinking it's closer to 2,000. I haven't confirmed all the numbers, but I was playing with the electric bill. I think this is, it's a huge savings.
So they're saying it's gonna cost $4,200 to put it in.
Right.
But
Change
we're
all
gonna
the
get
lights.
$1,500 rebate,
1225 according to this.
and it's gonna cost us, or it's gonna save us $1,300 a year. So within 2 years, it'll pay for itself.
Yeah. And I'm saying that's a conservative estimate. I think it might be in here.
Okay, and so the $4,200 is gonna cost us, where's it gonna come out of?
He's saying part of the capital
Out of the capital?
spending. Because it's in a sense, it's a capital improvement of the parking lights and everything. Now, the funds are available, but, I mean, you've got other items that you wanna do at the same time. You've got a heating unit that you wanna change in the kitchen,
Yes, he's looking
right?
into
You
that.
have other windows, and, he's got his projected, spending for the next 3 or 4 years.
Yeah, well, the windows for next year will, as, when we do our budget,
Will come out of that.
will come out of that.
Right.
So that's separate, I would
Mhm.
think. But yeah, I think it's important, we did talk to him about the heater,
Mhm.
because that, again, that will save us.
Right, and I think he's holding off, I think he was told that was to be tabled until after winter, since, the boiler's gonna be on
Right,
anyways.
yeah, you can't do anything about
Yeah,
it
but I
right
mean,
now.
to save
It's
the.
gotta be off to fix
Save
it.
the oil for next year. So Jim researched it, if he wants to,
I was a big against it, and I'm a strong supporter of it. And I also noticed today, these sodium lights we have on the building, there's something wrong with them where they're on during the daylight. And I talked to Rich about it, he says the photo cells are bad or non-functioning. So God knows how much we're spending now, because the lights, are they on every day?
Yeah,
I
they
just
are.
happened to look today
Yeah,
and they're all
yeah.
on.
When I go by, they're on.
So,
Are those ones that they're replacing?
yeah, on the walls
Yeah,
around, you know,
yeah.
they're 400-watt sodium lights.
Right, but
And
I'm
I
saying,
think they're like, I
the
don't-
ones that are on now during the day that have the problem with the filming, if we replace them with these,
And they'll be off
then
during
they'll
the
be
day.
off.
Yeah.
Once it's
So
on,
I think,
it's really good.
we're not
Do we need a
recognizing the
motion?
loss on it.
Yeah, we do need.
I make a motion that we replace the light bulbs
For contract.
per contractor $42,500.
Second. Motion's been made and seconded. Is there any other discussion on it? Any discussion?
Do you wanna know where it's coming from? Do we have to decide?
preferably, yes.
Where do you want it to come from?
Principal's budget. Funny money in there for anything.
Well, what do we have? Where do you,
We
what
have
do you suggest?
870827 balance, so that would drop that down to like 4,000.
Actually, the bottom line would be, you have 160 at the end of this year that's been put in, will have available in the sinking fund, and you've spent 52 of it. That'll leave 100,000, close to 100,000. That does not include monies that was put aside for the Oak Hill building.
That's separate.
That is separate.
That is separate, okay, that I wanna make sure it stays separate. So, we can find the 4250. Okay,
Actually, 4250 minus the rebate.
the rebate,
The rebate will come back as miscellaneous income this year
then go back into our
into
fund.
your fund.
So do you wanna take it out of the fund balance, is that what you want? Is that what you want? Do you need a motion?
Mhm.
I make a motion that the 42.5 come out of the fund balance for the replacement of the lights.
Capital fund.
Capital, excuse me.
The capital fund. All right, motion been made and seconded. Is there any other discussion on it? Doug?
No.
No? All right, all those in favor, please signify by raising your hand. Raise your hand. Doug? He did, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't see you, I'm looking towards, okay. It's unanimous. Okay, that's good. He'll be happy, and we'll be happy, and the town will be happy when the lights are, and they're going to do it soon?
before the end of the year.
That's soon.
Okay, good. So come March, when we have the town meeting here, we'll have lights and we'll have a PA system.
PA system.
Oh, they'll be dancing on the
Put 'em in.
stage.
You guys
They'll be
figure
so
out
happy. All
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, do it.
Next on the agenda is the consent agenda.
So moved.
Seconded.
A motion is made, second. Is there any discussion on the consent agenda? Oh, wow. Hearing, seeing none. All those in favor signify by raising your hand. Okay, consent agenda's done. All right. Okay, now we have policies. These are to warn. Policy 4035, conflict of interest in hiring. Have a motion?
So moved.
Second? Okay, motion been made and seconded. Is there any discussion on policy 4035? I see none. All those in favor, please signify by raising your hand. Okay, it's unanimous. All right, policy 5002, prevention of harassment of students. Again, this is to warn. Okay, motion been made.
I guess, answer your question.
Sure. Is it seconded? Angie, okay, Nicole, go ahead.
What's the difference between harassment and bullying?
Nothing, wording,
Huh?
wording.
Okay, but we're talking about 5002.
Yeah.
Okay,
I just
Oh.
was curious why you have harassment
Okay.
and bullying.
all right, so
I
all
guess
those
I
in-
could just help, I just wanted to clarify,
Right.
bullying it's a continuous over and over, it's not just a one-time,
Okay.
incident for students. It's a continuation of something happening over and over.
Okay, so we haven't voted on 5002 yet. All those in favor, please signify by raising your hand. Okay. Third on the list, 5003, prevention of bullying of students.
So moved.
This also is to be warned. Motion's been made. Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, is there any discussion? All right, seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by raising your hand. It's unanimous, very good. All right, next on the agenda, the principal's report.
All right, before I go into the actual items, I just wanted to say we had a wonderful day today. As far as our holiday meal, it was a great success. Served over 400
It was the
here.
biggest ever,
It was the
right?
biggest ever,
Yes.
yeah. Served cake for a couple hours this afternoon and got to talk to a whole lot of parents and kids, and it was just an enjoyable day. Mr. O'Connor was in attendance as well. The meal was good.
Fantastic.
Nice.
Cake was the best.
The cake was the best. It wasn't Mrs. Brooks's cake, but, so that was a great success, and just wanted to say that. Also, Mary Nat, our art teacher, has the Festival of Trees that our sixth grade students did at the end of the meeting today. Maybe if you wanted to check those out. And also the sixth grade Thanksgiving basket is over there. On the items that I wanted to talk about, we're just starting to talk about the relocation drill in the spring come May with the Pownell Valley Fire Chief and volunteers. Walter Clark was at our last meeting. Cindy was there. It's just the beginning talks of what that relocation would look like to the Pownell Valley Fire Department. It's been quite a few years, from my understanding, since we've done that. I know Mrs. Strange in the audience was at that meeting as well, and we're just kind of taking a look what was currently in place, making some changes and getting ready for that relocation drill in May. Along with that, this year we no longer do a fire drill every month, and I wanted to pass out, and I'm pretty sure I mentioned this at one of our meetings this year. This came from the director of the Vermont Division of Fire Safety and Secretary Villaseca, that the beginning of the year, if you turn to page 2, in September, we do a fire drill and a secure the building, or a a lockdown drill. We do both of those in September. And then we go back to October being the fire drill, November being the lockdown, and we kind of go back and forth. We have fire drills down to the T, the students and the staff. I mean, we really, really do that well. So when I first saw this, I thought, this is great for us, it's great for the kids that a secure the building or a lockdown drill is going to happen just as smoothly as all of our fire drills, but we need to practice it more. Just like the relocation, if it's been a number of years since we've actually done a relocation drill, we need to go through that, take a look at that, and then come spring, actually perform one. And we'll be doing that this spring.
I was totally impressed. It was the first meeting I had attended, and I'll tell you, they've got it down pat. There's 14 or 15 items on the list, and we made it through, half of them?
We did, yeah.
And,
And like Cindy had said, it was a great success. Jason Olansky, Casey Madison will be a part of that as well, either at our next meeting. But we're gonna have monthly meetings leading up to the May relocation drill. We'll let parents know, of course, that we're having that drill of
What do you mean by relocation?
evacuating Pownell School
in case of
in case
some kind
you
of
know, we had to
emergency.
evacuate the building. We normally evacuate out by the tennis courts. We gather there first, just like a fire drill. And at times, it may not be safe to re-enter the building, and we have to relocate to an area in Pownell, which is the Pownell Valley Fire Department.
Okay.
We organize
Yep.
there, we
So it is what it
cross,
says.
we cross Route 7, walk down Center Street,
Yeah.
and
Wow.
organize
Yeah.
in the Pownell Valley Fire Department. So we're taking that on this year to actually do the drill.
Fun.
Come May.
Good luck with that.
Oh, yeah.
Good luck with that, we'll do well.
Helicopter surveillance, the way you're doing it.
Any questions on that? Safety drills or relocation? The second item I wanted to just bring to your attention tonight, in your spare time, if you want to go on the Green Mountain Star website, and I have under number 1 there the website address. The Green Mountain Star, and Catherine's here maybe to kind of just mention that as well. That's the system we use for school improvement. You all know that we need to write a school improvement plan by the end of the year. And we're doing that with our coach that was assigned to us, Maura Hart, and she'll be invited to some of our meetings as well, and you'll get to meet her. There is a username, it's just VT Sample, and the password VT Sample. If you'll go in there, click on the elementary school, and just take a look at the indicators that schools are using to write their school improvement plan. And there's a sample in there. I just kind of wanted to make your awareness of what Green Mountain Star is, what the address is, and what it may look like for Pownell. There's an actual sample school in there. There's a high school, middle school, and then there's an elementary school. So you can click on the elementary school and look at that information. Those are the 2 items that I wanted to mention tonight. I also, since Wendy was in the audience and we talked about budget meetings coming up, our technology committee has been meeting as well, and we want to start taking a look at the technology needs of our building. I know with the SBAC testing and our computers in our lab are quite a few years old, from my understanding, about 7 years old. We may want to be taking a look at replacing the lab computers for this next year. So we'll be working with Frank Barnes and the tech committee, and as far as our technology needs for the budget process too. So those are going to be 2 big items we're going to want to have discussion about in our meetings. Will be special education with Wendy and technology needs with Frank Barnes and the team.
I think maybe what we can do when we do get around to maybe replacing the computers is maybe looking at iPads to see if that's cheaper. A little bit easier to handle versus laptops. That's a possibility. It's just food for thought,
Yeah.
you know.
There's a lot of, I guess, key features on the SBAC test that the kids will have to know how to use that I'm not sure that an iPad can be
We
functional.
can find out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
'Cause they
I
have
think the
keyboard.
Kumo tablets that Bennington School District bought, they're not quite out iPads, but I believe they're going to be accessible for the SBAC. But Frank will do the research with the tech committee here.
Okay. Who is on our tech committee now? Doug?
Doug is on the tech
You're on the
committee.
tech-
no one tells me what it means.
Oh.
Well, we will do
Well, they
that.
have, I'll make sure that you're,
Yeah.
well, you have the school tech committee.
We do.
And then there's the
Yeah.
supervisory union. So
But
it's
here
the
at-
supervisory one that you,
No, he's on the school.
He's on
the
our,
school.
Oh,
yeah.
because
I'd like to be
Gudrun,
on there.
he's replaced Gudrun.
okay, and I'll add you together.
Like, yeah.
Yep, I'll add.
Okay, good. Thank
My
you.
task list.
Tell you something embarrassing.
I think that's it. Uh-huh.
On the agenda, I'm thinking, why are they gonna, I thought it meant they're gonna relocate the well and drill it in the spring. I'm thinking, where's the spring they're gonna drill into? I thought this was a well, to relocate.
Relocation
relocating the
drill
well.
in the spring, yeah, I can understand that.
That's what I thought too when I saw it.
Did you? I was thinking we're drilling a well.
I think you're on the city board, town board.
Yeah,
This fire
Thank you.
department.
you're welcome.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I've already, under my report, I've already updated the board about the driveway. The other issue that was brought to my attention from Rich was there is a telephone pole, there's actually a light out in the backyard. It's been there for a long time. It was put there years ago because we had gas tanks out there.
It's over by the kindergarten.
It's over by the kindergarten, yes. And he brought it to our attention that the Green Mountain Power is charging us $100 a month for it. Now, I took a ride out there tonight because I knew it would be dark enough, and it actually lights up the parking lot out there now. And I thought, I don't know if they can move it out onto the road, if it's cheaper for the town to add one more to their list. I don't know.
Do we need it?
Well, it's.
Is there enough light out there?
That's the, actually,
That's the
there's
only
only,
one?
there's one light coming off the back of the kindergarten room. And that's not really bright enough, I don't think, so. What do you got here?
We're paying for a security light, $50 a month. When I was looking into it, I discovered that one. It was somewhere on our property, we're paying $50 a month for a security light. So that might be it.
I don't know, it'd be interesting to find out.
That's the only other, that is the security light.
Security lighting.
I have no idea where that is.
I don't know. Maybe you can check with Rich to see if that's the case. I mean, that's $50 a month, that's half the price. If I was a teacher and I stayed at, and I had to come out into that parking lot, I think I would want the light that's there now. So I just wanted to bring it up. If you could check if that's the light, I mean, I'm even happier.
I will.
Personally, I don't think we should take it out if it's, what is the board's pleasure? What do you think?
You want to interrupt?
Let's
Leave it.
investigate, see what it
Let's,
costs.
yeah,
I'm fairly certain that's it for $50, and that's
security
worth-
light.
that's
I don't
worth-
know
That's
what other
worth-
light we would call a security light.
Well, I'll check with Rich, but I agree with you that more lighting around the building is
The better.
definitely the better.
Okay, so that's, our next meeting is December 18th.
Cindy, did you, I wasn't sure if you had it on the agenda to talk about the para and the bus,
Oh, apparently, you know what, I left that piece of paper home.
right here.
I'll trade this with Doug so he can sign them. Okay, yes, and I thank you and Laurie for doing this. Right now, we had decided, because we have cameras on the bus, until further notice. First we said 60 days, and then I think we said till further notice we would leave the paras on the bus. Then we wanted to know what the cost was. Okay, for 3 paras, it totals $41, $82 a day, 41 per run. That's for the 3 paras.
Is that 82 apiece?
No, it's a total of 3 paras times 2, so that's the 82 runs. Okay, for 180 days, it's 14,800. Now, if you add in their FICA
Municipal retirement.
and the municipal retirement, it's around 16,200. Now, one of the suggestions that was brought to us by Joel, he had said that the morning buses are very comatose. He truly believes the morning bus run into the school is so quiet, he don't feel we need a pair on it. Now, 3 o'clock in the afternoon is a different story. They're off the wall. My suggestion would be to keep the paras on the afternoon bus and try it do a trial run for a couple months, only in the afternoon.
Is there, any IEPs that need pairs in the AM?
This is the 3,
That's
the
just the
4th
3,
bus
okay.
has the para we can't.
Alright.
She's staying, morning and
Okay.
afternoon. I'm talking the other 3 buses who do not have, any IEP children on it.
Those cameras are always on, right, when the bus turns on, they
The
turn on.
cameras are on, they're working okay?
Yeah, Joel made some updates, you know, whenever the brake pedal was on,
Would affect the
it would
camera.
affect the camera as far as it marked something, rather than if the driver sees something to mark something, but that's been corrected.
Good.
I just have a question. Will the current paras acquiesce to this? There's no problem?
Oh.
Will it go smoothly?
Well, we're hoping it's gonna go smoothly. I mean, this is a compromise of, our intentions was to put the cameras on the bus and eliminate the paras. To me, this is a compromise, okay? We could start it January if you want, let them continue on and start in January. They only ride the bus at the 3 o'clock. What is the board? Doug, what do you think,
Sounds good to me.
right? This
The
way
cameras are working.
Cameras are
What
working.
you said, yeah.
Yes. This is, I mean, we're gonna be starting our budget process pretty soon, so I mean, I think, to be fair to the taxpayers, we need to let them know that we're trying our best to save money. The school budget is higher in the town, it's the highest, versus the town's part of it. So, to be fair to the taxpayers and yet not take anything away from the education of the children, I think this is one area that we probably can look at and try out. What is the board's pleasure?
I'm willing to try it. I just have a problem with if something's going on, the bus driver's driving the bus, and the camera's not gonna stop something from going on.
Okay.
But I'm
There-
willing to try.
You know, there are, I don't wanna say that all the morning runs are smooth, or, we have difficult children on other buses too, and not just the one bus that may have the pair with students with IEPs. And I've always felt, and you all know this, and I've said it publicly, and I believe that we need to have a combination of both cameras and paras to not only help out our drivers, but to keep it a safe environment for our, for our students to travel to and from school every day, to start their day off on a positive note, to have a safe ride to school and a safe ride home.
And what I'm thinking is, we have bus rules,
We do.
and if we have children that are acting up, then that needs to be dealt with. You know, they need to understand, this is the way you behave on the bus. And if they can't, then you know what? Parents drive them. I don't know, I was a bus driver for 4.5 years. I never had a camera on the bus, I never even had a radio on the bus. I got hit in the head with a lunchbox, brought the bus kid back here. I mean, I understand that. We're not talking rookie bus drivers, we're talking veteran bus drivers. And I'm sure and have a lot of faith in these bus drivers that they know how to handle that. If they have to pull over the side of the road, they pull over the side of the road.
And they do at times,
And they do at
even
times.
with a para.
I'm
So
just
how
real.
long
Say
do
something?
you wanna try it?
I just, can I say something?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, sure.
Having been here for the time span from when it got to the point where we really needed paras on the bus, up through the time we had the paras on the bus, and now considering not, I'm concerned as a teacher because when we didn't have them, it was extremely difficult, and the kind of behaviors and dangerous situations that were happening on a fairly regular basis sometimes. Reminded me of what you said, Angie, about being very concerned about a camera can't do anything but identify the problem with people. So, as a teacher, I'm a little thinking about what happens if we don't have those paras. Just wanted to say that.
Well, I think I think we should try it.
Can I
Okay.
just ask one more question?
Yes.
How often do you look at the cameras? Only when there's a problem, or?
No, not necessarily.
Because I'm wondering if there's a problem, and say the bus driver's driving the bus and doesn't see it in the back, and it goes on, and it could become bullying or whatever,
Right.
and there's not a para on the bus.
Mhm.
So I'm wondering do you look at it every day, once a week?
Not every day. Currently, with Joel just did the updates, because everything was being marked. Really couldn't pinpoint one thing or the other. We'll begin doing that. I can't see myself having the time to do that on a daily basis. I could see possibly a week pulling, once a week pulling one of the,
Is that something maybe that Rich could do or something? Just take 5 minutes a day or 10 minutes a day? Or a week and just pull one or the other buses?
we can talk about that.
So I just don't want it to go on the wayside of nobody looking at the cameras.
Right.
Just like what happens outside of this building, sometimes people don't even know what's going on. They're not watching the videos.
That's a good point. Yeah.
I just don't want somebody to get hurt.
Thank you.
Yes, Ken.
I would go along with your recommendation to try it just for a month, say the month of January, and see how everything goes. Because then you would have a good idea. I think a month, 30 days, and in that morning session, you would know whether your kids are, and I agree with you. Kids who are misbehaving should be spoken to and dealt with. But at the same time, when the bus driver is driving, there may not be that place to turn over to the side of the road and things are going on. I don't want something to happen. And we've had a good track record over the years that we've had the paras on the bus. But I can see where your point is, Cindy, for the taxpayers because of the expense of the cameras, but at the same time, I look for the safety of the kids too, and the bus driver.
And the other thing that I would like to add as well is the community, from my understanding, has always supported Pelmel having their own buses.
Yes.
Yes.
And I think part of that is that they have paras on the bus.
No.
Last month, we had a few residents in our audience that I think were going to speak if it were on the agenda tonight. They may have come back to support paras being on the bus. It wasn't on the agenda tonight. We didn't have anybody in the audience to talk about that. But I mean that is my feeling. Is the community supports our own transportation here at Pelmel. We have a great system, great drivers, great communication between the school and the drivers. And I do believe our community, it's part of a safety feature that we have on our buses with our parents.
One of the things last year that brought this board to the decision of putting the buses, the cameras on the buses, I cannot tell you how many times the phone calls I got from parents saying, why are the paras behind the bus driver? Why are the paras drinking coffee and reading the newspaper? So that was spoken to several times. Some of it was corrected, some of it was not. I didn't document, but it was several phone calls of this issue. And I think that's why the board decided 2 reasons. Let's replace, get the cameras on the buses. I know other schools have them. And that was the bottom line to it. Now, maybe they're different now, I don't know, but.
Maybe, since then, I've been on a few bus rides, quite a few bus rides here lately, wanting to see what's happening, and the pairs are not just sitting there.
While you're on the
they're-
bus?
While I'm on the bus.
Well, of course.
I mean, you can pull the cameras and take a look at
Let's
that
be
too.
realistic, of course.
Yeah.
If my boss was sitting on the bus, what do you think I'm gonna do, sit behind my record?
Sure.
Okay, Catherine?
I just wanted to clarify, what you're bringing up, Cindy, is a discussion for your budget discussions. You're not planning to make a decision now to eliminate them for next year, or you're waiting till your budget works?
No, we're in the
I
process
was
of
just
just,
clarifying
yeah.
that it
What
will
we're
be part
trying
of
to
your
do is
budget-
figure out, cause
budget discussion.
we had said 60 days, then we said, okay, we'll leave it until the time being. But now I made the suggestion of cutting back one morning run and trying it for a
Oh, I
month.
see.
Okay?
I'll agree with that.
Yeah, because I got the same phone calls you got about the paras.
Yes,
sitting in the
absolutely.
front
We've
seat.
had problems in the past. That's what drove us to bring us to where we are now. It wasn't just I woke up one morning and said, oh, they're gone. That's not the way we did it. There was a major reason behind it.
I understand.
And I'm trying to work very hard with this.
I understand, and I'm just
Okay.
voicing, my thoughts and
Oh,
my
yes.
feelings as well.
So if you're
Voice taken.
recommending Cindy to take one para off one morning run to try it, I would recommend that Todd obviously meet with the drivers to let them know that this will be part of, the paras rather, and the drivers to let
Yeah.
them know it's part of a research for budget
Month of
discussions,
January.
and that he would give notice, so you need to give, I would think, the para that's not gonna ride the bus some notice that
That would be 3 pairs.
3 pairs.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you said on one run.
Right, there's 4 buses,
Right.
okay? One bus, the para has to stay on because there's special needs child.
Okay, yeah.
The other 3 buses, there's 3
I
pairs.
thought you were only taking one bus, one run off in the
No,
morning.
3
I see, okay.
3 buses.
Yeah, I would definitely say you should give them a few weeks' notice to
Oh,
let them
we are,
know.
we're not starting
Yeah.
until January.
Okay, yep.
Yeah, I'm trying to be,
Can we actually vote on it without warning it?
Do we need a motion?
yes, we can make a motion. We'll make
For 1 week. Was it, how long?
For a month.
a
For
month, a month
Okay.
of January.
I'm sorry, I can't hear down here.
That's okay.
Their blower is blowing.
Oh. All right, so someone will make the motion?
I'll make a motion that we try for 30 days, taking 3 pairs off the morning run for the month of January.
Okay. Well, do I have a second? All right, motion been made, second. Is there any other discussion on it? All those in favor signify by raising your hand. All right, it's unanimous. So we would try it in January. Okay, that gives them ample time.
February and January.
Okay. All right. Our superintendent is up. We signed this.
Here comes, oh,
Cindy, may I think Todd should give an update like halfway through January. You're gonna be in budget discussion for the next year. You're gonna be wrapping up in February, so just to make sure you're staying in line with your budget discussion on that item. If you're testing it for elimination out of your next year's budget.
Oh, I see what you mean.
Yeah, because your timing's a little late if you do a whole month of January, so I think you would want an update mid-month to see how it's going.
Will we meet in what, January, like?
You'll start to have budget meetings.
Right.
Don't you have a budget work session, extra meetings that
We
you
do,
schedule?
yes.
Rick?
Yes. We do. Before I forget, Doug, this is yours. I don't know if I have January on this one.
She had to sign some contracts.
I gave some.
Oh,
January 15th is our board meeting.
So that would give approximately 2.5 weeks
Yeah, that's not enough.
for him to come back and say.
Yeah, that's not enough.
Can we do it for December? Just go.
Oh, it's they've hired.
Yeah, they need a little bit more notice than
Yeah.
Bus driver.
How about December 15th to January 15th, where is that at school?
Figure it out myself.
Can they not be on the bus and get paid?
Can we, excuse me?
No.
No.
No, for the trial.
Okay, so
No.
I don't believe 2 weeks is enough. I'm
No, I'm not
I'm
saying 2 weeks, I'm just giving an update of, like.
But I'm saying the month of January, and you said
Okay.
that wasn't,
No, the
that
month of
would work.
January is fine, I just would want some kind of update mid-month to see.
But do you think 2.5 weeks is enough time for Todd to give us an update?
I don't,
All right, then.
And the only thing we
I'm
can-
not, that's not my point. My point is you need to make sure if you're using the evidence of that trial for a budget discussion for FY15, that it's in line with your budget work sessions. And if your meeting's not till the third
it's the 15th
third
of
week of
January.
February, to get the report on the month of January,
It's the
may
19th.
be out of sequence of your budget line, your budget development, that's all I'm saying.
And my-
And I'm
Unless you
not
have a
sure-
special, well, you're gonna have budget meetings in
Right,
February, you just
right.
have to make sure you have one that first week.
So if the reason we have to wait till January is to give notice to the paras, my thinking was if we just start it in December, and,
You have the holiday.
no, it's what, the problem is giving notice to the paras?
Yeah, I agree.
But, I mean, can I, you know what I'm thinking, it's just, is to pay them and just to have them work.
Excuse me?
I don't
For the
think you can
purpose
do
My
of the
phone will
trial.
start ringing. I'll just give you your phone.
Okay.
You can't,
No, you can't do that.
I don't think it's the issue of notification to the parents, because if it's January first and you mention it now, that's plenty of notification.
Yeah, that's a month's
I
notice,
think what
they're not
Catherine
getting
is
paid.
talking about is, if you wanna make the decision not to budget for it next year, you need to know your decision before January 15th.
Before your February.
That's what I'm saying, if we do the trial in December. So my question is, what's stopping us?
It's not enough notice, right?
Notice for the paras?
Yeah, to not pay them, right.
Well,
Especially before the holidays.
how much would it cost us to pay them, Jim, in December? What's the
I think
budget?
you just need to set
Yes.
your budget
Yeah.
meetings.
Okay.
We will.
That's,
We'll-
and make sure it's in line,
we
that's
will.
all I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's all I'm
We can work
advising.
it out.
Okay,
It's gonna stay in January. We'll work it
that
out.
was my superintendent hat.
I know. That's okay.
With help from finance.
All right. You're up.
Okay,
Was that voted?
I don't think we
Yes.
need it.
Well, not
Yeah, they did.
all the discussion about changing it, but for the month of January, you guys voted on it.
Yes.
I have a motion, a second, and you all.
And we all agree, yes. Okay, thank you. It doesn't take much to confuse me.
Well, I'll start by giving a compliment to Principal Todd Phillips and all of the faculty and staff at Pownell Elementary School. On Tuesday, our coach, our school effectiveness coach, Mara Hart, met with all of the principals and what I call the SVSU administrative team, which is the directors as well, to go over a status report. Was part of the meeting where each school reported on their progress for school improvements, their school effectiveness plans, their action plans, and activities that the faculty were involved in. And I'd like to compliment everyone here because they are well on track. And I walked away just feeling that they're one of the schools in the supervisory union focused on student performance and not in a narrow way, but fully for the students. So I was very pleased to hear Todd's report and would like to just compliment the teachers who are putting attention where they need to on the indicators and giving feedback to which indicators will be prioritized, and that work will continue. And you'll see it when you go on Green Mountain Star. So it's important work, and it sounds like reporting. It's well on track, Todd, so thank you.
Thank you.
Good job.
Also, I wanted to report on the conference at Lake Maury, and I'll ask Jim O'Connor to help with that because he was able to attend. Cindy mostly is able to, but this year we missed you.
Yes,
We
yeah,
really
I
missed
wasn't
you.
able to go.
This is a conference that's sponsored by the Vermont School Boards Association as well as the Superintendent's Association. It's a joint conference. It's time for board members and the superintendents to come together and really look at educational issues, not only around financial issues, issues in the legislature, but also educational issues. And if you look in your packet, you have the joint agenda for world-class education, and I would just encourage you to take a look at it in your budget discussions. There's explanation about what makes a world-class education and different roles that the state policy legislators should be looking at, and then tips for local action. And I think if you read through that, Pownell over the years has taken a lot of initiative for example, the one-to-one computing. I think you were the first in the supervisory union with your sixth graders, and I just think that you'd be pleased to see how you measure up, but also where you need to, where you might want to look at for your budget discussions. One of the ones that's in here is the importance of family engagement. I think again tonight, and I say again because you have a community that's engaged. But 400 meals, that is remarkable. That is absolutely stellar, and it reflects the attendance that you have at your events as well, your evening and your open houses and your, more importantly, the student performances that are done. So I just think that, it'll help just give you a picture of what people are recommending to really make sure that Vermont stays ahead in student development in all of the aspects, arts through academics. And Jim, did you have a perspective on? Did you go to some? You did.
Yeah. Had a good time. It was too much, too many choices.
I know.
As far as the breakout meetings, and I chose the ones that I chose to go to were informative. But it was just too much of a good thing with the breakout session. We actually learned some. Got my eyes open to a few things. And
I think it was important for a new board member to.
oh yeah, it was.
You do learn a lot.
Yeah, it was exposure to a group of people, to a different group of people. I wasn't used to. The Secretary of Education was there, and the new Secretary of Education was there. So that was important to hear both of them, and then to mix and match during the social hours with other board members to get their perspective. A lot of people.
Yeah, there were. It was
A lot of
crowded.
people.
Good food too.
Oh, the food was out. This is a compliment to Lake Maury. The food is out of this world.
Yeah, it's good food.
If you look at me, I haven't missed too many meals. And over my life, I've been to conventions all over the world and banquets all over the world, some of the best hotels and stuff. But the food there was, for banquet food, it was outstanding. I'm talking breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Yeah, I always do.
Highly recommended.
And I have to compliment the people that put it on. We used to have to go to Montpelier. And we just convinced them that, how about the middle of the state? And it's been at Lake Maury now for a few years.
Oh, yes.
Very nice.
Because us people down in the south have to get up about 4 o'clock in the morning while those people up there just fall out of bed and go to the conference. So I think it was Winton Goodrich was the one that we talked to, and he convinced them that let's have it at Lake Maury. So that's good, halfway up the state. So,
Very well run.
good. Sorry I missed it. Usually the speakers are excellent too.
Oh, yeah,
The
they
guest
were.
speakers are. They've
And,
never had one
Diane
that-
Ravitch spoke the night before, and of course she's one of the formulators of what became No Child Left Behind in the accountability testing, and she's done a complete turnaround and spoke why she feels that testing has not accomplished what they theoretically thought it was intended for. And I also had an opportunity to speak in the comment section. There was time to go up and ask questions, but I made a comment and asked her to give more visibility to students with disruptive behaviors, because we're seeing more and more of them come in at earlier and earlier ages. And you know, she made some response to it, but it's an area that she barely touches on in her book. She mentions it, but she doesn't explore it.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping her next foray into writing and visibility nationally on issues would be that issue. We need support, as you know, you've seen the same. And we just have a lot of families that are, and children that are in trauma, or have difficult, complex lives, and it's increasing. Again, a topic for budget discussion.
Yeah, that's gonna be busy. Okay, is that?
That's it.
That's it?
Thank you.
Oh, thank you. All right, is there any other business to come before the board?
Got something?
Yes.
Whatever bus it is, just from Paul Elementary that turns off 346 into Main Street, there's a track right there. And they let people off and they stop. He stops in such a way, if you're coming down 346, you can't get into Main Street. So you're out in the middle of the road. And the cars don't stop because the lights are flashing the other way. He needs to stop on 346 at that corner. We stop the traffic 4 ways. Now it's only stopped on Main Street. And we darn near got hit. My wife was in driving. She didn't know if to go up behind the bus, there wasn't room, or to stop at 346. It's a very dangerous corner right there.
Who,
I don't know who was driving.
Is
I
that-
didn't,
is
I
that
didn't get the
Bruce's
bus number,
bus?
only the fact that it was on a bus.
it could be Bruce's place.
Yeah, I don't think he realized.
Well, yeah,
So
yeah, maybe Ty can talk to him.
it's nothing, you know, if you just pulled up a little further, or stop, ideally stopped on 346, it stops traffic 4 ways. Because some of these kids are dark across the street, who knows, right?
Where did he stop, on Main Street?
Yeah,
Which is considered Main Street, where
That's-
the library is.
that's Main Street, yeah. There's a track right there.
Right.
And he has to stop for that, but he stopped halfway to the track, so his tail
To
is.
the railway track?
Yeah,
Yes, there's a set of tracks down
you know, I'm not, he doesn't realize, I'm
Halfway
sure,
through it.
and, you know, I couldn't get out and tell him very well, so.
No, not through it,
No.
before it.
Maybe ride that route with them.
Maybe he doesn't stop there every time, but it's just the one time, so I don't know what he normally does. But he has to let kids off. So it makes sense to turn the corner and get off at 346. But then the traffic still runs on 346.
Okay, I'll look at it, thank you.
Yep. I didn't want to make too much about it, right? So it's a
No,
good
no,
time.
that's good. If you see problem, you know, that's what you're supposed to do, is just bring it forward, and
Yeah.
we'll check it out.
Yeah,
All right, thank you.
yep, no problem.
Okay, is there any other business to come before the board?
I just wanted to ask a question, Todd, did,
Yes.
the boys' bathroom get the,
Yes.
thank you,
Oh, okay.
faucets?
The faucets, oh, yeah.
Good.
It's like the
Forgot
day
about
or,
that.
day or two after, the next day. The next day.
Okay.
Excellent, thank you.
Yes, thank you. Okay, I don't think we have an executive session for anything. No. Oh, boo-hoo. All right. So I'll entertain a motion to,
Do we have to make a budget? No,
no, central office usually lets us know when we start that. We'll start out.
I'll check on the
We
dates.
check on the dates and then just give them to us and we'll set it up. Because usually what we do is we meet, you know, 3 or 4 times, so we can get it filed
It's really
together. It is. Thank you.
Jimmy, eat down a little.
All right. Thank you very much.
Said
Motion
all the time.
to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Do we understand when I
Are you a fisherman?
We're listing as $1 million for.
Largemouth bass?